The following show features stunts performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, Valley TNTV and the producers must insist that no one try this stuff at home.
Don't you need me? Don't you cover me? And then simply try to be me, because I don't think you will. Think you will. Think you will. Because I don't think you will.
Day 2 on Mount Shasta finds Leigh, Caleb, and I fighting for the summit. From gear malfunctions, rock and ice fall, freezing temps, 40-mile-an-hour winds, and the effects of altitude 600 feet from the summit, Valley TNTV's at its vertical limit.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning on day 2. Summit day.
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 In the morning, I had my alarm go off around 4. I slowly woke up and I knew I had to get the guys up because we needed to get rolling early.
How's everyone sleeping? Oh, good morning, Caleb. Hey, Leigh. Yeah, he's alive! He's alive!
Day 2, summit day. Climbing Mount Shasta.
Day 2 consists of a very dangerous and near vertical climb up 2,357 feet from Lake Hellen to the top of the Red Banks. From there we cross over to Misery Hill at 13,300 feet and then on to the summit at 14,162 feet.
Still nerve-wracking, still nervous. It's like one of the hardest points on the mountain.
We were a little late on our expected leave time, which was we were planning on leaving around 4.
All right, now it's after 5. Leigh is still not ready. Caleb's throwing on his harness because we may have to get roped up somewhere near the Red Banks.
Robb was all set, crampons on, packed, and he was all set. He took off a little bit in front of us.
And that's when Leigh ran into trouble right out of camp.
I hate breaking the group up, but Leigh turned around. He's headed back down to Camp 1.
We kept in radio contact with him and asked him what was going on.
My gut's telling me not to, and I trust my gut.
Sometimes, if you get that gut feeling that something's wrong, it's better to listen to your gut.
But I gotta get to the radio and let them know that I'm not gonna go ahead and head up. I'm just gonna go ahead and stay at base camp.
Watching Caleb and Robb head up that mountain was kind of that, oh, man, I should be there right now.
They are making their way up to the Red Banks. You can barely see them. They're the two black dots right above the rocks there, right there. Hope they return safe, and we'll keep checking back in.
This is probably the most dangerous part of the route, from avalanche, rockfall, snowfall, all that stuff.
The Red Banks are really steep, so you really got to place your feet. You're really digging your crampons in with each step. We probably should have switched to ice axes there because a fall from the Red Banks can be really dangerous.
This is the steepest part of the climb. Even my pictures won't do justice, so I'll try and swing the camera over so you can kind of get a view of it.
It was a conscious decision with every step that our life was in our own hands.
Fall from here would be really bad. Yeah! Top of the Red Banks.
We were just excited to be at the top of it. It was our last little hoorah of the steepest part of the mountain.
Right when you get on top of the Red Banks, you can see this glacier pulling away from the Red Banks, and it opens up a big crevasse right at the top, which is beautiful.
12,700 feet at 820. Not bad.
On the Red Banks, we were hitting about 30 to 28 degrees on the way up. As we crested over the Red Banks, it dropped dramatically. I think it was about 8 degrees is what my barometer says.
We decided we were going to take a break for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes up there to kind of relax, but the wind was blowing so hard that I didn't want to.
As we got back on the trail, we crossed past the glacier and over the top of the Red Banks and started up Misery Hill.
Which is that ugly thing right there.
probably got about 3/4 of the way up before I actually turned around and looked at Robb, and Robb was on his hands and knees.
Robb is not feeling very well. He started getting beginning signs of altitude sickness, and he's going to toxic. So we aren't able to summit. We got to get him downhill.
I saw him once try to stand up, and as soon as he stood up, he just hit the ground again.
It was quick. In a couple minutes, my hands were numb and I was freezing and I lost feeling in my feet and hands. And then I couldn't stand and I was dizzy. And I was toxic within 15 minutes. And now I can't catch my breath and I feel like I'm gonna vomit.
We had to go down. The 3 Ds of climbing is, if you're in trouble, is descend, descend, descend.
The best part is we all knew the rule. If anything went wrong, injury, weather, mountain sickness, anything, the rule was to turn around, and Caleb was on it.
He's really not doing too hot. I'm not even gonna have him speak because he needs to catch his breath.
The world was spinning, and it was a process to put one foot in front of the other. It was a process to form any functional thought. I can always come back and try again, but if I push myself to a limit of no return, then that would be my last climb. And honestly, no climb is worth that.
You take chances, and you live with those risks.
I mean, you could die up there very easily.
We'll get to tent, we'll get to camp, make some hot food, lay down for a little bit, get you rested up. All right?
Woke up to the radio going off, and apparently Robb came down with hypothermia and acute altitude sickness.
It's not good. It's not good at all. So, and Robb is the most experienced one of all of us, so.
It was scary. Robb's the most experienced out of all of us, and if he can come down with it, then any of us can.
So he made it down most of the red banks. Robb here's a little tired. How you feeling, Robb? Yeah, he's still iffy. He's not doing so great. Good news is we're gonna go down a lot faster now because we're gonna...
Glissade is actually sitting on your butt and sliding.
You ready for this? You want me to go first or follow you? All right. All right, we're gonna start glissading.
There they are.
Back in one piece? Yeah. We have to get him some drink. Okay. We hit Misery Hill, and I was about 3/4 up it. I turned around, and Robb's still at the bottom on his knees, on hands and knees. And then I get the cross pole skiing the X, and he said X, done. Stay down alive. He needs to get in his tent. Get in. Go in ours. Go in ours. Go ahead. All right, head in here. In ours. In ours.
I got into the tent, and Caleb and Leigh started feeding me water and food, which was exactly what I needed.
I think the cold and the hypothermic and the altitude just hit me all
All at once.
and it was so fast. I was fine. And then I was on my hands and knees.
The most painful thing was knowing that Caleb could have made the summit, and me getting hypothermic and a toxic ruin Caleb's summit for him.
The lower we get, the better I'll feel.
Yeah.
We'll get food in me and we'll start packing up.
Get
We'll
pressure
out of here.
back.
Yeah.
I was probably still a little toxic at camp when we were packing up. It was really a process to put my sleeping bag in its bag and then put that bag in my pack and then go on to the next one. It was a process mentally. I had to focus the whole time. But we pretty much glissaded down the whole Avalanche Gulch. It took us 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get back to the car.
Headed back down to the car. We've been climbing down for about an hour and a half now. And you can see there's Shasta.
Unlock the car.
I made it to 10.5, and I think that's a big accomplishment, but you know, I still feel like I should have at least attempted to summit.
It was hard being at the top and having to turn down, but it's obviously more important to take care of your friends.
Alpine climbing and mountaineering is something that's in my blood, and I will do it forever.
We'll defeat her this time, with Leigh included.
There's one simple reason we'll be back to climb Mount Shasta. I'm not going to let
that mountain beat me.